We have all had times or experienced times in our lives where we felt as if we had failed at something or we couldn't get something done, and that felt like a failure to us. But then we also heard many other people talk about failure and say, well, that doesn't have to happen only if you give up, because you could try over and over again and then discover that your failures were actually just leading you to somewhere else that you may not have known. And I can absolutely speak to that. And now I can tell you why there is no reason for anyone to experience failure. Because the only reason would be that you have yet to discover who you are, your rightful place in this world, what you were born to accomplish, and what was given to you to develop to bring to the world. And the only reason you would experience failure is if you choose not to do that. And for a long time, I was not doing that. And I have to do that now, which is why I'm giving you this today. My name is Roger Burnley, and I've been a coach for a long time, but also a spiritual guide or receiver of information from universal consciousness that Wilhelm is who the name is. And so you'll understand that today. And this has been challenging for so many people, especially me. We never know who we're going to become when we come into the world. And when I sat down and started doing automatic writing in 1989, it was just to get help for me, not understanding that I had connected to this universal consciousness that was giving me a full understanding of how our world moves, how our world operates, the energetic alignment that we all have, that we each have, and how it affects us individually, how our DNA is causing us to awaken to something within us at a particular time because it's all intertwined. If you hear about the quantum entanglement, and I'm sitting down and I'm receiving it every single day for 36 years. Now, I couldn't have known this. You don't know either. Whatever we develop as we're living, we kind of don't see it until we look back, usually in hindsight, and then we can kind of uncover it. But this is a different time in our world. And so what I was led to was to start using technology, which is what we're all embracing now, to find out what Wilhelm had given us. It wasn't just me, it was for everyone. But I doubted that, as you may have doubted yourself too. See, I was told this in 2021, but I said that couldn't have happened. We will come up with also this imposter syndrome. It couldn't be me who was doing this or given this particular thing. And I'm saying that I absolutely know that every single person has something of worth and value within them that could be developed for them to live this great life. My life was meant to live this way that I did to bring in the work that could have others do that. And that was a dream I had as a child. Maybe I could bring something to the world that could help change things. And now that's exactly what has happened. And you will see it because I'll leave a few documents for you to read. But what I did, this is still January the 2nd, 2026. And what has happened over 17 years, I was receiving information that was energetically aligned on every single day. I couldn't have known that. And so that was 365 days a year for 17 years that's what I was receiving, and it's caused me to heal. And that's going to be the documentary that I'm going to produce at some point, because I went through every physical difficulty, challenge, horrible thing. I mean, you name it, I went through it, but this work was changing it because I was receiving it from a different place. It had no judgment. It had no predisposed thing that I had to do. It was just saying that we each have something within us, and if we keep going, then it gets developed. We just have to move through the barriers. The barriers exist in our consciousness, and that consciousness has been formed by everything that came before. And so we have to decide if we're going to move beyond it. And sometimes that becomes challenging, because we can develop different skills and abilities or talents that no one has seen. And that's what happened to me. And listen, I couldn't accept it at first. I held back because it didn't make sense. I spent weeks sitting and trying to find, and you may have done this in some area of your life, Who has done this before? Who has done it exactly like this? They said, no one. And I had to say, I was the first person in history to do this, to download a verified consciousness raising system that's like the first perfect personal development system that would work for any single person, because it's all consciousness. We're all humans. We all evolved the same way. This was a new way of looking at our lives, looking at our world, and understanding our connection to the universe. And that's what came through. But also, this is something I understand not a lot of people will accept or believe. We don't like looking at our consciousness. We don't like doing the shadow work, which is what this required. It required it of me to look at all that stuff that was within me and decide to transcend it, decide to move over it. And then I documented it all. I wrote it all down. And that's why this was unprecedented, which you will read in the documents. But again, I'm finishing it now. I'm 75. I've done all of this, and so now it's about finishing this work, which and giving it to everyone that I am working with, and people who have already done part of this. So we're going to finish all of it. But I wanted to give it to you today because when I sat down and looked at January the 4th, I just kept going. I said, let me look. Did it happen on every single day? It did. And there's an organization of information that we start to understand at a certain point. And again, I've never studied astrology or astronomy, any of that, but you will see that the energies were aligned with the information that I was receiving from Wilhelm. This is what caused the healing to come about in me and other people, because it's alignment. And we start to learn that, and we've heard about it in different areas, but now here is something where I actually lived it, which is why I know that it works, and I know that it works for any person, which is why I said now no one has to fail, struggle, or suffer, because it's just a matter of taking the steps. And now it's laid out, because we only fail if we give up. There's no way to give up with this. Every single day you have something to work with. You have something to stay accountable. People wonder, how did this happen? I sat down every single day and did it. Then it turned into cognitive behavior training and shifting, and that was the information I was receiving. So then it turned into self-actualization, because then you start to become more empowered. You start to feel more confident, because now you're connecting to your authentic self. That's what this work does. And so I wanted you to see it because as we go through this weekend, I want more people to understand it, because I will see how many people come into it's open for anyone, and I made it so that any single person can do it. There's an affordable way for any person to do this. Now, if many people may not want to, and if that's the case, then I'm going to be working with more private clients anyhow, so that might be the route. But you will see the information and decide. But I will tell you, there's no reason, and I know this now, even though I doubted it for years, there's no reason for any person to fail, because all you have to do is discover who you are and start living that. And that's what I'm doing. All right, see you guys soon. Thank you so much for being here.